This video presentation will provide you with the steps to access, view, and filter the CQL template reports within CQL's portal data system. Please note that your ability to view the CQL template reports is dependent on the user role that your organization has provided you. To access the CQL template reports, you're first going to hover your mouse over the reporting tab within Portal. The CQL template reports are broken down into 3 separate reporting sections based on survey type. So you have basic assurances reports, POM adult reports, and POM child reports. Let's first look at the POM adult reports. As you can see, we have multiple reports in this section dependent on your user role. Now let's look at the POM adult social determinants of health survey report. This report will provide you with the percentages of yes responses that relates to social determinants of health questions from your organization's completed POM adult surveys. Each POM report is going to provide you with the options to filter your response data. However, before we cover those filtering options, let's take a look at some of the data. As you can see, this report shows the percentages of outcomes present for questions relating to choice and engagement, person-centeredness, and health and safety. You have the survey question in column 1 for each outcome, and then your organization's outcome percentage present for each question. So for this example, we have interact with other members of the community, outcome present, and then we have our yes responses at 75.14%. Also, the report is going to calculate your overall social determinants of health score. Now let's talk about filtering. You can filter the report by the following. We have survey start date and date end. So by typing or utilizing the date picker, a user can add dates to search by the date of interview question in POM surveys. If selecting 2 different dates, users can filter the data to show any survey set in which the date of interview falls between those 2 dates. Next, we have provider group. This group dropdown will display any groups of providers the user is associated with within Portal. If a group is selected and the survey filters are applied, then users will see all data associated with each provider under the umbrella of that group. Next, we have provider. This allows users who have access to more than one provider to select which provider they would like to see data from. Next, we have certified. This checkbox is associated with the question in the POM survey, which asks about the certification status of the interviewer. When checked, the user will only see data associated with the survey that was conducted by a certified interviewer. Minimum age and maximum age. This allows users to use numbers to select an age range for the people who were interviewed. This number is calculated using the date of birth question in the POM surveys. Next, we have question and response. This allows users to select any question from the survey to select a response to filter data. So for this example, I'm going to check demographics, gender as my question from the question dropdown. And then I'm going to select the response from the response dropdown. And as you can see, it's going to show all the possible responses for the question of demographics, gender. For this example, I'm going to select female. So if I want to apply this filter, I'm going to select submit. And as you can see, the percentages have updated below to only show surveys for members that responded with female for the question of demographics and gender. Also, as you can see, the overall social determinants of health score has updated. I can also filter my report by multiple questions and responses by selecting the drop-down next to the response and selecting "and." This will populate an additional question drop-down as well as an additional response drop-down. Now, I can select a second question response to filter my data. So I'm going to choose demographics, marital status, and I'm going to use the response of single, never married. So what I'm asking the report to do here is I'm saying, show me data with the responses of female for the questions of demographics and gender, in addition to those who responded with single for the question of demographics, marital status. So I'm going to apply this filter now. And once again, my percentages have updated to support this filter. And once again, the overall social determinants of health score has updated. There's also an option for an or filtering by multiple questions and responses. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the and drop down and I'm going to change it to or. So if I select the or button and I apply this filter, the percentages now shows people who are female or who are single, never married. So as you can see, my percentages have updated again, as well as my overall social determinants of health score. Some other filtering methods that we have is state province. This filter will allow me to select a state or province from the dropdown. If I apply this filter, then the percentages will update to only show percentages for members who live in the selected state or province. We also have interviewee last name initial. This dropdown contains every letter in the alphabet that once selected will display the interviewee name dropdown. So if I were to select the letter D, I'm now populated with this interviewee dropdown. What this is going to do is going to provide me a dropdown of all my organization's members that have a last name that starts with the letter D. Now, we also have a way to filter by unique identifier. So if a member was added to Portal via unique identifier, as opposed to a name, you can select that list from the dropdown. So if I were to select other, the dropdown will now contain a list of unique identifiers associated with members, part of my organization in Portal. Last, we have text search. This text box allows users to type keywords to filter the data based on those characters. So once filtered, any free type entry into the Palm Adult survey that contains the letters used will display on the data below. Each templated Palm report within Portal will provide you with these filtering options that we just reviewed. You will later see when we review basic assurance surveys that some of these filtering options are not present due to them not being applicable to the survey itself. In addition to filtering, you can also export the templated reports by selecting the export button. You can export in Excel, PDF, or Word. I'm going to select Word for this example. So the document downloads, and once the download's complete, I can open it. And now I've successfully exported my data into a Word format. Now, let's take a look at a Palm Child report. I'm once again going to hover my mouse over the reporting tab, and I'm going to select Palm Child reports. Here are the CQL reports for Palm Child. dependent on your user role. For this example, I'm going to select POM Child 5 Factor Comparison Grid Report. This report is going to show you the POM Child 5 factor comparison between your organization and the national rate in relation to outcomes and supports for each of the 5 factors of the POM. For example, for outcomes present within human security, you have your organization's percentage listed, and then the national percent listed in the next column, followed by the difference in percentage between the two. This is also the case below for supports in place for each indicator. Now, just like the previous report demonstrated, I can filter my data using the same filtering methods that were discussed. I can also export this report in Excel, PDF, and Word. Now, let's take a look at a basic assurances report. I'm going to once again hover my mouse over the reporting tab and then select Basic Assurances Report. Here are all the CQL Basic Assurances reports. For this example, let's look at Basic Assurances Demographic Information. This report is going to show demographic information that relates to your organization's completed basic assurances surveys. As you can see, we have our questions and then our counts and percentages based off the response type. For this example, we have our survey question of BA, geographic population descriptor, and then our possible responses of urban, rural, or both urban and rural. In terms of filtering basic assurance reports, you will notice these reports do not have filtering options for certified interviewee, interviewee last name. In terms of filtering basic assurances reports, you will notice these reports do not have filtering options for certified interviewee, interviewee last initial, interviewee last name, or maximum age. The reason for this is because this information is not captured in the basic assurances surveys, and therefore you're not able to filter by those criteria. Just like the POM Adult and Child reports, you can export this report in Excel, Word, or PDF format. This concludes our video presentation on the templated reports within Portal. For more information regarding the reports, please refer to the quick guides located on the CQL website.